What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on Peg City Hockey. And, it seems that the Jets just can't escape the trade market as of late. They're tied to pretty much every single player, regardless if it makes sense or not. Everyone's just throwing the Jets' name into the conversation because why not? They're a top team in the league this year, and they're definitely going to go out there and make some big trades. And today I want to talk about a player that we've talked about a little bit in the past and a couple weeks ago in a video talking about defensive trade targets that the Jets have been linked to. And, we all know that Kevin Cheveldayoff has been extremely busy, but today I want to focus on Philadelphia Flyers defenseman Rasmus Ristolainen because he is a guy that the Jets have been linked to for years, like almost going for half of his career. I would feel like the Jets have been linked to trying to acquire Rasmus Ristolainen. His career has been polarizing, honestly. If you have followed this story about the Jets wanting Risto for a while, I've talked about it a lot in years past as well. If you've been a fan of this channel or subscribed to this channel for a while, we've definitely brought this conversation up before because it's been just brought up so many times, it seems like. I don't know why the Jets have been linked to him so many times, but they have been. They really like Rasmus Ristolainen, and his career has definitely been course corrected, I would say, the last couple of years in Philadelphia compared to where he was with the Buffalo Sabres. When he was on the Sabres, I did not want the Jets to touch him with a 10-foot pole. I thought that when you look at his points, they're a little bit deceiving. He was having some pretty damn good years there with Buffalo, 43-point season back in 2018-19. But look at the plus minus. I know I always say plus minus is a nothing stat, but if you're a minus 41 out there, I think you might want to start looking at taking that into consideration. Now, granted, Buffalo was terrible for, last 20 years, it seems like. But, still, Rasmus Ristolainen, he carries a cap of $5.1 million. He's signed for this year and for next year. So the Jets would be looking at, keeping him around. This wouldn't be a rental situation. They would get another full year out of him. And honestly, when you look at the way that the Jets defense is structured right now, I think what would make the most sense is putting Risto on that second pairing with Neil Pionk. Or not with Neil Pionk, excuse me, probably like a third pairing, I guess. I think what the Jets would do if they acquired Risto, what they're looking for. I want the Jets to go out there and acquire some more top four quality defense, but I think with Ristolainen, what they're looking to do is acquire a guy that is arguably a number 4 or number 5. He could be a second pairing guy, but I think they want to acquire him and shore up the depth. I think that the most important thing going into the trade deadline necessarily isn't the Jets have to go out there and get the absolute best player. Obviously, I want that as a fan, and I think that would help their chances exponentially, but what I look at right now at the trade deadline, it's funny because he's such an inconsequential player when you really think about his role in this team, but getting Logan Stanley off this roster come playoff time should be priority number 1. Now, I know the Jets already have a plethora of other options in-house right now to take Logan Stanley out of the lineup, and they won't. But I guess they just don't think anyone in-house is a better option. I don't want to spend all video talking about Logan Stanley. We've done it enough this season. Point is, he should not be in the lineup, and you got to acquire some better improved defensemen to shore things up come playoff time. And if Ristolainen's the guy that they're looking at that spot, look, at this point, I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm still not that big a fan of Ristolainen. I would rather the Jets go out there and make a much bigger trade. But as you saw from earlier with his stats in Buffalo in his earlier careers compared to where he is now, his advanced stat card for this season, he's solid. 85% defensive rating, 64% offensive rating. His stats are pretty damn solid. Obviously, I would prefer to have this guy, I don't like the contract. If a little bit was retained, I think it would be nice, but he's not as bad as he was once. And in a depth role, acquiring a shore-up defenseman who's been reliable in Philadelphia. Now, granted, Philadelphia isn't the best team ever, so comparing where he was with Buffalo to Philadelphia, does it really show that much of a improvement, or is just, there's a lot of variables in the situation with Ristolainen. I'm not, I don't think anyone would say that, especially where he was a couple of years ago with Buffalo. But I think that the Jets, if they could get this, a little bit retained on Philly's end, they were able to get him, for maybe similar to what we got Tyler Toffoli for last year. I know Tyler, when you think about what the Jets got Tyler Toffoli for last year, a third-round pick, or whatever it was, maybe a second. I think it was a third-round pick. No, it was a second, excuse me. It was a second-round pick. If you can maybe swing a trade like that, that's not too much, not a lot of prospects involved, and, he's not your main guy, go for it. But I still think the Jets, if they're looking at defense, go all in, acquire the big guy. Get Erik Karlsson. If Erik Karlsson is on the market, go out and trade for him. Without a doubt. I know his defensive, metrics are terrible, but this is one of the greatest offensive defensemen of all time. like a generational talent. If you want to look at really improving your team and putting yourself over the top, go out there and get the player that'll do that. Erik Karlsson on the back end, I think, would elevate this team. Just like how I think that, you know, if you're going to go all in for a trade this year, don't trade for, you know, some mediocre second-line center that you have to argue to the fan base. Go out there and trade for a legit player like JT Miller or Brock Besser, or even an Elias Pettersson. Like, you can, or hell, even a Barzal who we've talked about. If any of those guys are truly available and there are any real concrete, you know, facts in those rumors, then I think that's what Kevin Cheveldayoff and the Jets should do. And if Ristolainen's, you know, the guy to shore up the defense and then you focus all in on a really great center, maybe that's okay. But at the end of the day, the price for Risto, if it's cheap, go for it. If not, don't touch him. That's my thoughts. So let me know yours down in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching this video. Follow me on Twitter. Check out all the affiliate links down in the description below. Peace, love, and positivity as always. Go Jets, go. And I'll see you all in the next one.